Today, December 11th, I am going to entirely focus on positive and helpful stories. I think we all need a little bit of that right now. I'm not somebody who is Pollyanna about what's happening in the US right now. I'm not somebody who's going to blow smoke up your ass and just, lean into the hope core and not talk about the hard things. But I know that we have to focus on the good things that are happening because they're happening everywhere and they're not being covered that much in the popular in the corporate press, in the state-controlled media. However, there is one breaking story that is all over the news in the last hour, and I want to take a second and talk about it. I don't normally talk about breaking news, but this is a huge win for justice. This is a huge win for the American people, and it's a huge win for Abrego Garcia and his family. So the AP is reporting as of 1 hour ago that a judge has ordered Abrego Garcia to be immediately released from immigration detention. This piece in the AP is by Travis Lawler, John Sewer, and Claudia Lauer. I want to read just a little bit of this to you, and I want to talk about why it's so important, other than the obvious reason that Kilmar's rights are being upheld and that the justice system is working everywhere except the Supreme Court. Abrego Garcia must be freed from immigration detention while he fights to stay in the U.S., a judge ruled Thursday, handing a major victory down to the immigrant whose wrongful deportation to a notorious prison, a torture gulag in El Salvador, made him a flashpoint of the Trump regime's immigration crackdown. Judge Paula Zinnes in Maryland ordered Immigration and Customs Enforcement to let Abrego Garcia go immediately. She wrote that federal authorities had detained him again after his return to the U.S. without any legal basis. Of course, Homeland Security, and it's not really clear if this is coming from Kristi Noem because we don't actually know if she's being phased out or not. Homeland Security called this naked judicial activism. That's very much a Stephen Miller talking point, right? Anytime the law is being upheld, it's all of this projection. It's like activist judges breaking the law, but they are judges consistently upholding the law, and the would-be autocrats, the fascists, are mad that they aren't being able to do whatever they want. They aren't being able to violate people's rights all over the place, so they get big mad about it. DHS spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin, who I'm just going to remind you all again, the New Republic had a piece of reporting out on her over a month ago saying that she has been caught blatantly lying about what ICE is doing and the treatment of people that they are abducting, and also blatantly lying about the actions of people who are being snatched, including U.S. citizens. She is fabricating actions to justify what ICE is doing, and she's been caught lying multiple times. There's nothing that comes out of Tricia McLaughlin's mouth that anybody should be trusting. She's shameless. I look forward to the day that she faces justice for what she's doing now. She said the order lacks any valid legal basis. That's simply not true. She said, we will continue to fight this tooth and nail. The judge gave prosecutors until 5 p.m. Eastern time today to respond to the release order. Abrego Garcia's attorney said the judge made it very clear that the government can't detain someone indefinitely without legal authority, and his client has endured, quote, more than anyone should ever have to, end quote. His attorney went on to say, at the same time, we are mindful of the government's past conduct in this case and will stay vigilant to ensure that nothing undermines the court's decision. Right, so this is what is really important for all of us to remember. We have to count every victory. Every victory is important. But at the same time, we can't act like because we gain a little ground here or we win here, that then the regime is going to lay down. No, they're pissed that they don't get their way. Bullies don't back down the very first time. They're going to try and redouble their efforts. They're going to get more brutal, more aggressive, more extreme, and we must continue to hold the line. That's why we say, do not comply in advance. That's why I say that my mantra is not even do not comply in advance. My mantra is fuck you, make me. There is no way we will give up our rights. There is no way we will lay down. We must be relentless in the pursuit of justice for ourselves and for folks like Abrego Garcia. So his attorney is very wise. They know what the regime has done, right? Like they admitted back in March, Abrego Garcia, who was here, not only allowed to be here, but there was a judge's order preventing him from being removed to El Salvador. So if you remember, at the time, the regime had their sweeping immigration crackdown where they were coming for folks that they said were part of MS-13 or Tren de Aragua. And so they rounded up basically a couple hundred, I think it was like 238, don't quote me on that number, somewhere around there, men who had tattoos that were like completely benign. They took one young man who had an autism awareness tattoo and claimed it was a gang symbol. They took another man who was a gay hairdresser and claimed that he was a violent gang member because he had tattoos. They took all of these men and they renditioned them to a torture gulag in El Salvador in an egregious violation of their rights. They also, in that sweep, accidentally picked up Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who is from El Salvador. So he wasn't renditioned, he was deported against a judge's orders. The government admitted it was an error, right? Because this is a kakistocracy where incompetent people run the show. They admitted it was an error. He shouldn't have been sent to the torture gulag in El Salvador, but then they were like, no, can't get him back. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was sending millions and millions and millions of our taxpayer dollars to El Salvador to take these men and basically disappear them, right? The head warden at CCOT had said that the only way people leave CCOT is in a body bag, in a coffin, that nobody walks out. Now, the regime thought that they were going to get away with this. They thought that they were going to be able to do whatever they want. And at the time, Donald Trump was talking about how he wanted El Salvador to build more of these torture prisons for American citizens. None of the men who were sent down there, 200 and something Venezuelans, none of them had any confirmed ties to any gang, and Kilmar Abrego Garcia, no ties to any gang. So what happened was a huge amount of public outrage that the regime did not expect. However these things happen virally, public attention all pivoted to Abrego Garcia because of folks like you, because of organizations like Indivisible, because of a groundswell from grassroots folks reaching out to elected officials, refusing to let this story die. Senator Chris Van Hollen, who is Abrego Garcia's senator, went down to El Salvador, brought the press, made a big stink, was able to meet with him, but was unable to get him released. After that, a delegation of 4 members of Congress, including my Congresswoman Maxine Dexter, went down on their own dime. They spent their own money to demand to meet with Abrego Garcia. A judge had ordered that he be returned to the U.S. There was a whole lot of court nonsense where the federal government was clearly defying judges' orders, was coming up with excuses. They were refusing to return someone. They knew they had illegally, wrongly, against a judge's orders, sent him down there. They said it was by accident. And then they were like, too bad, he's going to spend the rest of his life rotting in this prison. And that scared an awful lot of people. That got an awful lot of people activated. Remember, at the end of the day, the people have the power. It's because we pushed back that members of Congress got involved. They would not have had that level of energy for Abrego Garcia's case if it had not been for you and me and everybody else who was not willing to let this go. So ultimately, the government ran out of excuses, and I guess people who work for the Trump regime, attorneys in the DOJ, were not willing to go to prison for Tricia McLaughlin and Donald Trump. And so ultimately, Abrego Garcia was returned. But again, we have to be vigilant. They were not going to give up. Right? Bullies want to bully. They don't like it when they don't win. So once Abrego Garcia was returned, they were determined to punish him, to make him suffer. ICE has repeatedly sought to rendition Abrego Garcia to a series of African countries. This is a man who has done nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. The government fucked up, and they are trying to rip him away from his wife and child and send him to random countries in Africa where he doesn't speak the language, he can't work. They're trying to destroy his life. They want to be able to defy the courts and destroy your life if they feel like it, especially if you embarrass them. In her report, Judge Zinnes wrote that federal authorities did not just stonewall the court, they affirmatively misled the tribunal. Now, we know that Pam Bondi has trumped up charges against Abrego Garcia in Tennessee. Multiple attorneys on TikTok have broken that down pretty extensively, how that case, there's nothing to it. They're grasping at straws. They are trying to ruin this man's life because the American people stood up on his behalf against the illegal authoritarian actions of the regime. They want to make an example out of him. While that case, that is a big fat nothing burger, proceeds, Abrego Garcia is now ordered to be released and live free and not be deported. But his attorney is right. We have to be vigilant because Homeland Security is going to try some hinky shit. And I think it's a good lesson for all of us. 1, celebrate this victory. Huge, huge victory. But 2, we have to be vigilant because they're not going to give up. This is not a battle that is over quickly. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And they're determined to put roadblocks in your way. They're determined to trip you up every step of the way. We must be vigilant. We must celebrate our victories and then plan for and anticipate the ways that they will retaliate. Because when they lose, they escalate. Because the only thing they have in their arsenal is threats, intimidation, and violence. We celebrate, but we don't let our guard down and we keep moving forward.